Hi there, Summoners, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes, and tonight we are getting the reveal of the first summer banner of 2024. We do have the sneak peek here pulled up, and it is a double helping of Beefcake. It looks like the left there is going to be Hrid, and on the right, if my eyes don't deceive me, that looks an awful lot like Vake. So if it is going to in fact be Awakening based, in terms of other potential candidates on the banner, you know, maybe we could be seeing Shershe, maybe a Shershe alt, or Sumia. Maybe Sumia will be making an appearance as a Swimsuit character, I don't know. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Got the trailer pulled up, let's watch together raw for the first time, react to who gets revealed, and then take a closer look at the banner as a whole. So let's get started. Alright, here we go! Let's wait for that title to leave, and see who we got here. Outshining the sun! Yes, special heroes to battle. Alright. Ready for some beach fun? Oh, beach chaperone! Nerduz! Oh my god, that Sencha art is beautiful! And that art is clearly altered for the trailer. Yeah, no, she's glorious. Whoa, love of Nerduz. Oh my god, one skill taking up the entire page. Her skills almost don't fit on 2 pages. Okay, well, takes less damage from first attacks and strikes back with counters, helps speed up specials for allies as well. Alright. Looks like she's got a little tropical flower in her goat form. Aww. That love, that marrow beam, the little heart with the laser. Gotta love it. Okay, so she is gonna be a green beast. Okay. And then showing the counter attack here. Tanking that, what is weapon advantage? God. Well. Alright. Wow, that's a lot of damage, okay. And, oh, there he is! There's that boy! Island Ice Prince. Hrid. So the whole family is here, or it has their summer variant. So Cavalry, Lancer. Okay. Coming in, Prince's Lance, Bonfire, Ice Prince's Seal. Interesting that he doesn't have a whole lot of skill. He's not the 4-star, is he? Inverts foes' bonuses when he engages in combat and heals when his special triggers. Oh, alright.
You kneel.
So it looks like he is going to be pretty tanky. The tide is high. Okay, and the Kanto too. Is he the 4-star special? I don't... 4-star focus? Oh, Wavecrest Dancer!
Such breathtaking scenery.
Wow!
A
Kipu rendition of Olivia. She is a flying... is that Colorless Tome? Sea Tambourine Plus. So she is going to be then the 4-star focus special unit. Okay. Nullifies guaranteed foe follow-up attacks, prevents users. That's not... You know, Olivia, that's a great pick. That was one that I didn't even consider at the start. Oh, glittering sunlight. Oh, we dreamed, we dared to dream, and it became real. So that is going to be Seidr and Gullveig together.
You're all right.
A red tome cavalry duo, golden sunlight, time and light. Got the flared sparrow, a trace skill, as well as odd speed wave 4. Crush foes with up to 4 actions, equivalent of 37 speed with their special. Oh my god, alright. Okay, alright.
This may be cold.
Time and light. Bringing down the lasers from on high. Dealing that damage. And then in another action, they're not done yet. They are not done yet. Okay, alright. Yeah. So, I mean, it was in the cards, right? We kind of expected that she wasn't... Are they actually going to show all 4 of her actions here?
You're all right.
The absurdity. The absurdity. Breathe deep. My goodness me. You know what? Watching her nuke Otur out of existence, I'll take that any day. Alright. Duo skill grants another action. Oh, wow, alright. That is as simple as it gets, but honestly, It's a duo skill that never goes out of style, I have to say. That is so cute. The floaty, the serpent floaty is adorable. That's truly adorable. Okay, so Nerduz Flush Summer Paralogue Story. Nice. And then that is Vake. That is Vake, and he is going to be the free unit. Okay, starting on the 17th and going until August 4th. Because again, and Olivia is going to be the 4-star focus unit. It did confirm that there. Now, of course, it's going for an extended period of time because it is going to overlap more with Summer 2 when that drops, right? So that's why there is kind of this pretty long period that the banner is going to be out, which of course means lots of opportunities to accumulate orbs over time. To go in for this banner, should you want to. You're going to have at least 2-month resets, right? And 2-month resets of different missions to get orbs and everything. So that is one of the nice things, right? So yeah, this banner honestly ended up being a lot more nutso than I thought it was going to be in terms of desirable characters. We had the Hrid silhouette, and Vake, and so we were right on both of those. But, obviously they were kind of giveaways. It wasn't too hard to tell. But yeah, Nerduz, Nerduz, and then the duo, fantastic. And Olivia, too, to round it out, I gotta say. I mean, so Olivia does have an alt, and it would have been kind of nice to see, I think, some of the other Awakening ladies that don't have an alt yet to get one, so that would have been nice, but I mean, Olivia's great, so I am certainly not upset with that pick whatsoever. But yeah, wow, okay, and I'm already kind of scared about going back and reading Nerduz's 2 pages of skills that barely fit. Her weapon that takes up an entire page. So let's go back, let's rewind, let's take a closer look at the characters and the skills and the banner as a whole. So first up, we've got Nerduz, again, as a Cavalry Green Beast unit. Sencha doing the art, absolutely magnificent, beautiful use of color, soft line work, just really great shading and lighting. And of course, Nerduz herself looks glowing in her bikini with the floral arrangement. I am curious which of the flowers are part of kind of covering her up for the YouTube trailer versus the actual in-game art. Maybe the one in her hair is the real one. Maybe the one around her as a sort of a belt might be real, and maybe some of the floating ones. I don't really know. It looks like she's got a little icy treat with her, which is really, really cute. Again, love the flowing pink hair behind her. Obviously, those sensuous curves all on display with the 2-piece swimsuit that she's, with her matronly style in general. She has that gentle demeanor. Really, really great stuff. And then you have the horns and the glowing ornaments and everything. She looks magnificent. You gotta love it.
A lovely summer yet.
Love Nerduz as a character. Always like to see more of her, and thrilled that she's getting a summer variant. That's fantastic. So, Love of Nerduz, it is 14 might, killer slaying effect. At start of combat, if unit's HP is at least 25%, grants bonus to all stats equal to the number of allies within 3 rows and 3 columns centered on unit times 3 plus 5, max 14. So that is incredibly easy. As long as she has teammates on the field, she is going to be able to rack up those stat points up to 14 very, very easily. Neutralizes effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks and effects that prevent units follow-up attacks, so no follow-up in there. That's obviously quite nice. And reduces damage from foes' first attack by 40% during combat, including Brave effects. Grants the following effects to allies within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit, and if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25% at the start of combat, to unit as well. When that unit or ally's special triggers during combat, reduces the percentage of foes' non-special attacks, reduce damage by X% skills by percentage equal to that unit or ally's max special cooldown count value times 30 plus 10. Max 100%. Excludes AoE special. So she has damage reduction piercing that scales off of the actual special cooldown count value. Max cooldown count value, I should say. And she actually bestows that on her allies, which is ridiculous. So she can actually, it's interesting that it's a calculation to get 100% pierce, potentially. And so she can get that as long as she has 3, a max cooldown value of 3 or more. She's going to get that because it's 3 times 30, right? Which would be 90 plus 10, so that's 100%. And also, if that unit or ally's max special cooldown value is greater than or equal to 3, once again, 3 being the magic number here, and their attack can trigger their special, grant special cooldown count -1 to that unit or ally before their first attack during combat. I see. So she or her allies get a nice little pre-charge to her special as the combat begins, or I guess right before combat is the phrase, before their first attack during combat. So it's a during combat buff before the first attack, which does obviously obviate a number of different effects that could prevent her from gaining charge as she needs to proc that special. Additionally, at the start of turn, if unit is adjacent to only beast, so it's the beast transformation requirement, right? Which she probably has a skill to just ignore that anyway, but let's go through it anyway. If unit transforms, grant attack +2 to unit, inflicts attack defense -X on foe during combat, where X equals the number of spaces from start position to end position of whoever initiated combat. So a clash ability built in there, or clash skill. +3 max 6, and also if X is greater than or equal to 5, reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30% during combat, which of course will stack with the 40% damage reduction earlier. So this weapon actually has multiple percentile damage reductions that stack on top of each other within this, which is why she was able to tank that so cleanly in the demonstration. This is obviously a stacked special. It has so much stuff going for it. But breaking it down, you know, the Killer Slaying effect, the huge, enormous stat boost, not only to herself, but then giving to her allies the ability to have that damage reduction piercing, the null follow-up ability built in, the damage reduction, and then more damage reduction stacked on top of that, the stat debuff on the enemy to attack and defense, the increase in her own attack value, and then the pre-charge of her special before her attack. All really phenomenal, fantastic things. If we move right along, so Dragon Fang is her special. And again, they were talking about the fact that there's a 4 cooldown special or what have you. So she has a 3 cooldown special. Dragon Fang is 4 cooldown, right? But she has a Killer Slaying effect, which brings it down to 3. So that is the magic number for her. So that does obviously Dragon Fang doing a lot more damage than Draconic Aura, but having that 3-turn cooldown is basically what she wants. In order to reach the condition for a lot of the effects. So attack speed XL for the A slot, so that is going to synergize, of course, with the beast effect that she has with her skill, with the movement and the increased stat line. So as she moves a certain number of spaces, she is going to get boosts to attack and speed that scales off of that. And then also she's going to go ahead and reduce damage from foes' attacks for a certain amount. And then, of course, if she initiates combat, going to get a damage reduction that scales off of that movement as well, in addition to if the foe's attack triggers their special, reduces further damage as well. So again, all of this damage reduction kind of stacking together here and there. Now, so all of this damage reduction stacking together, obviously leading to a lot of dings. Now, it is worth noting that all of this damage reduction is susceptible to piercing. None of them are built into her special. Her special is not unique, so they are susceptible to piercing effects. Now, Under the Sun for the B slot, a unique B slot skill, enables Kanto 2, just straight up, Kanto 2. At start of combat, if unit has at least 25% HP, inflicts speed defense -5 on foe, neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit, and unit deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed. Ooh, okay, and reduces damage from foes first attack by 25% of unit speed during combat, including Brave effects, and unit's next attack deals damage equal to total damage reduced from foes first attack, and restores 7 HP to unit after combat. Stacked B-slot skill. Of course, she's going to love the Kanto as a cavalry unit in general, and she's going to be doing a lot of moving anyway with the whole clash effects with the rest of her kit. But the Kanto 2 is definitely good, of course, but then the stat reduction on the enemy, the guard neutralization on her, ensuring, again, that she's going to get special charge to proc that special. Unit deals damage, so she's got fixed damage that scales off of her speed, and damage reduction, further, that scales off of her speed as well. So again, boatloads of damage reduction, and then also a bide effect, where after she reduces the damage that she does back is enhanced by that damage that she reduced, and then also heals after, for good measure. Yeah, it's a powerful B-slot skill. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Beast Threaten for the C-slot skill. So, at start of turn, inflicts defense -7 and panic on foes within 3 rows and 3 columns centered on unit through their next actions. Okay, all right. So that's a big effect. 3 rows and 3 columns. No other condition, really. And it's, defense -7 and panic. That's not bad. At start of turn, if any foe is within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit, grants attack plus 60 unit for 1 turn. And also, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grants special cooldown count -1 to unit. So she gets a pulse. So again, 3 rows and 3 columns around the unit is a majority of the map. It's a huge portion of the map, depending on her positioning, right? So that being the case, it's pretty likely that there's going to be a weapon or an enemy in there somewhere, right? And if so, they're going to be heavily debuffed, panicked. And then she herself is not only going to get an attack boost to herself, she is also going to get a pulse effect to her special. So that's magnificent. That's really, really strong. I guess the one, missing element that I would have expected, just because they're so unhinged these days with kits, like, they don't care. Like, balance is no longer a consideration. It does feel like they just kind of... nothing matters anymore. So for that's kind of the sentiment that I get from this. So I guess I would have expected them to have the ability, like beast transformation, ignoring that the condition for beast transformation somewhere in her kit. It's not in here, but and I think that is typically tied to the B slot, which you wouldn't really want to swap out because her B slot skill is pretty fantastic. So there may be other ways to go get around that, or again, you run a beast team, or you just position her correctly like you would normally have to do for a beast unit. And again, her kit's awesome. Her kit, it's really great stuff. I mean, it's going to be built around damage reduction, so much damage reduction built into her kit, supporting her allies, proccing her special, doing tons and tons of damage. So yeah, it's impressive. And then having all of that baked into effectively her weapon and her B slot skill is formidable. Next up, we've got Hrid as a cavalry lance unit, and my man looks good. He looks good. He's got that beach style going on for sure. He's rocking it well. Again, color palette and everything works really in accordance with his original design with sort of the frosty elements. He's got the teal and the white and the gold just built into his outfit. Got the swimming trunks with the belt off kilter a little bit, and a sash too with some flowers. It looks like a breezy jacket just hanging off of his shoulders too. Obviously open at the front to expose that muscled chest, that six-pack, those powerful arms. Looks like he is wearing kind of like a surfer's necklace around his neck too. Definitely, again, kind of, I think, assimilating the look that you would expect on the beach. Got sandals, and his weapon is kind of interesting too, because it's got almost like a sailboat at the tip. The actual quote unquote blade is the sails of the sailboat. It's pretty cute. But yeah, Hrid looks good. He looks good. And he finally has made his way to the beach to meet up with his sister, so the whole family is out there now. So interestingly enough, he comes without like an A slot or something like that. It's a little unusual. He is not the 4-star focus unit, so it's a little weird that they kind of omitted that. But anyway, let's take a look. Prince's Lance, so it's 16 might, enables Kanto 2, Killer Slaying Effect. If unit initiates combat or if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to all stats during combat equal to 25% of foe's attack at start of combat -4, min 5, max 14. Okay, alright, so at least +5 to all stats, up to +14 to all stats, based around the enemy's attack stat, right? Scaling off of that, inflicts penalty on foes' stats during combat equal to the current bonus on each of foes' stats times 2. Example, if foe has +7 bonus to attack, inflicts attack -14 for a net penalty of -7. So, yeah, I forget what the effect is natively called, but more or less basically doubling down and doubling the negative of whatever bonuses they have so that they effectively have a negative net stat depreciation. And reduces damage from foes' attacks by 40%, just straight up, no condition, just all across the board, always getting damage reduction. And also, if unit deals damage to foe using a special during combat, restores a percentage of unit's max HP equal to 10 plus unit's max special cooldown count value times 20, max 100, triggers even if 0 damage is dealt. So this calculation, though, it's only if he procs his special, but restores max HP equal to 10 plus percentage equal to max HP equal to 10 plus units max special cooldown count value times 20. So the max cooldown count value in this case would be 2, right? Bonfire with the killer slaying effect, times 20, which would be 40. 40 plus 10, which would be 50. So he gets 50% of his max HP restored. Again, even if he dings, it does not scale off of any damage or anything, so he has some health restoration built in there. So that is a very nice weapon. It's not quite as oppressive and impressive, I would say, as Nerduz's, but there's a lot of really great stuff going on in there. Bonfire, of course, for the special, and Ice Prince's Seal for the B slot. And start of turn, if unit's HP is at least 25%, inflict speed defense -7, frozen, and guard on closest foes and foes within 2 spaces of those foes through their next action. So you have an AoE debuff on the enemy, not only stats, but also frozen and guard. Frozen being reduces inflicted units' follow-up ability and increases foes' follow-up ability through unit's next action. Increases speed difference necessary for unit to make a follow-up attack by X. Decreases speed difference necessary for foe to make a follow-up attack by X during combat. If foe's defense is greater than unit's defense, X equals 10 plus difference between defense stats times 2. Otherwise, X equals 10. For example, if speed difference necessary increases by 10, speed must be greater than or equal to 15 more than foe's speed to make a follow-up attack stacked with similar skills. So this is their way of nerfing natural speed, natural outspeeding, and natural doubling, because we have there's so much like guaranteed follow-up attack, reduces guaranteed follow-up attack, eliminates and neutralizes guaranteed follow-up attacks that exists throughout the game, and then a lot of these skills that kind of pare things down to just having effectively the outspeeding, like the natural speed, like, you know, day 1, year 1, like if you have the 5 speed over your opponent, you are going to double them, right? So Frozen is their way of like going and changing the quotient and making it more difficult, so that even if you're not a speedy unit, and I'm guessing that Hrid is not going to be a particularly speedy unit, but if he or maybe he will be, maybe he'll be okay, but I don't think that's going to be his min-max stats. And if that's the case, you know, this is his way of getting around being doubled, is just reducing and increasing the speed differences necessary for the enemy, or for himself and the enemy respectively, right? Alright, at start of combat, if unit's HP is at least 25%, inflict speed, attack, defense -5 on foe, unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, deals damage equal to 20% of unit's defense, and reduces damage from foes' attacks by 20% of unit's defense during combat. So, we were just talking about guaranteed follow-up attacks, right? They're a dime a dozen these days, and so he's got it as well. But again, he's got a safeguard with this whole Frozen thing, because that could prevent follow-up attacks on him additionally, or allow him to get follow-up attacks where he might not otherwise. And then the rest of it, obviously very strong. Kind of a miniature version of Nerduz's different abilities, and ones that we've seen in the past multiple times. It's this whole, you know, damage reduction, fixed damage scaling off of a certain stat line, and then a guaranteed follow-up attack and all that stuff. So strong B slot skill, a strong showing there. Odd defense wave 4 for the C slot. At start of turn, it grants defense +6 to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. If unit's defense is greater than or equal to foe's defense -5, neutralizes effects that grants special cooldown charge +X to foe, and inflicts special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. So they added an in-combat effect to odd defense wave 4. If it is an odd-numbered turn, grants defense +6 to unit during combat. Okay, so they incredibly bolstered the versatility of the wave skills for the C slot. I mean, so not only is there just an initial buff to defenses to both he and his allies at the start, there's also this like guard effect on the enemy, and then a charge effect or blade effect on him that gets incorporated in there with the defense stat check. And then, also getting it in combat buff to defense as well, just based on the actual turn. I would say that, you know, for C slot, So yeah, that is an impressive change to the wave skills to make them more palatable for sure, and it's definitely a lot stronger than the wave skills that we've seen in the past. I would say that probably swappable. That's like not a must-have skill. It's going to work well on him, but I think that depending on what you're going for with your build, there's going to be a lot of options to trade that in for something else. His kit as a whole, the whole Frozen thing, that has some interesting implications, and I don't know how that's going to play out in kind of the larger scheme of things in terms of the calculations and how, exactly, I guess what the average stat line differential you're gonna need to actually outspeed Hrid and actually double or follow up on Hrid naturally. He's got some good stuff. I like the unique elements to what he's got baked into his kit. So that I definitely very, very much appreciate. So Wavecrest Dancer here, she looks lovely. Olivia as a flying colorless tome unit, and I very much like the little fluffy layered skirt that she has going on. It's very cute. She's got the fan in hand. She's got a wreath of flowers in her head, wearing that two-piece, showing off that midriff and those legs, a little bit of cleavage up top too. Halter top bikini design, and she has even the gold trinkets that she usually wears. Color palette, very faithful, of course, to what she typically is wearing as well. She looks beautiful, gorgeous shading across her soft skin. Really, really nice. I will say that if there's one kind of detraction or criticism, I would say that it's because of the color palette and because her original dancer outfit is, obviously very revealing in and of itself, almost resembling a two-piece in a lot of ways. It's not like a huge departure from that outfit either, but I think they could have gone a little bit more dramatic with her outfit and the change-up. But again, I think that they did a really great job in adapting it to a swimsuit, and a swimsuit style for sure, because it's certainly not a one-to-one or anything. Yeah, I think Kipu did a great job on the art. Now, Olivia is going to be a dancer, and again, the 4-star focus unit of the banner, so she is going to be easier to get in that colorless pool. And she is going to come with C Tambourine Plus, colorless tome, 12 might. At start of turn, if unit's HP is at least 25%, grants attack speed +6 to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. At start of combat, if unit's HP is at least 25% and it is an even-numbered turn, grants attack speed +5 to unit during combat. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25% and it is an odd-numbered turn, grants attack speed +11 to unit during combat. I see. At start of combat, if unit has at least 25% HP and unit's speed is greater than foe speed -5, neutralize effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks and effects that prevent units follow-up attacks, which does, of course, mean, since she already had that speed differential, of course, if she's not frozen, that she would be outspeeding the enemy, and if they have guaranteed follow-up attack effects, they would be neutralized. So this is interesting. I like where they're thinking, and I like where they're going with it. I mean, odd and even numbered turns, and you're getting different benefits and buffs depending on which turn it is. However, you're not getting totally in the dark if it's not like if it's not like odd. In this case, like she wants it to be an odd number turn. If it's not an odd number turn and it's even, she still gets a bonus. It's just not as high. So that's kind of nice. And then, of course, the activation of the stat boosts for her and her allies at the beginning of the turn 2 is quite nice as well. So I would say a decent inheritable weapon, but again, it always runs into the issue of, look, we've got rearmed heroes now these days. The caliber and the standard has just increased so much into what warrants inheriting as far as certain skills go. But it is interesting. I like the effects. I like the direction, I think, overall, and the mindset in the design of the weapon. Dance for the assist, attack speed far trace 3 for the B slot, and attack speed rain 3 for the C slots. So a nice source as a stepping stone for attack speed far trace 4, and then attack speed rain 3 too is nice to have. Again, more accessible these days, but still nice to have an additional easier way of getting both of those skills. So yeah, Olivia's fine. Again, nothing really spellbinding, nothing incredible about what she's bringing to the table. I will say it's unique, and I do really appreciate that. I think the elements to her tome are unique. She is going to be a flying colorless tome dancer as well, which is a relatively rare niche that she fulfills. So that is another draw to her overall as a character and a unit. So she's definitely got some stuff going for her. Not kind of middle of the road as far as 4-star special units go, I would say. But again, the art's great. The art's fantastic. The effect The explosion of water, the bubbles and everything, really awesome stuff too. From her weapon. So, Glittering Sunlight. Yoshiko doing an incredible job reprising their role as the book artist, of course. We've got Gullveig and Seidr. Cavalry Red Tome unit, and they look magnificent. Design-wise, the unmistakable style of Yoshiko coming through cleanly in the art. Really beautiful. Almost incandescent use of colors, just this vibrancy to them as a whole. Soft, smooth skin, revealing curves, two-piece swimsuits. I will say it's kind of weird that Gullveig's like holding, I guess she's holding a watermelon. Yeah, I guess she's holding half of a watermelon and they're eating maybe some shaved ice out of the watermelon, and then it looks like Seidr is doing the same, but with half of a pineapple. So that's cute. That's like a cute arrangement. I like how close they're kind of hugging to each other. Gullveig's snake floaty is adorable. I absolutely love it. Gold elements to her swimsuit. Really, really nice. It is kind of, again, I was going to note, it is unusual, I think, that Gullveig's kind of covering herself up with the watermelon. I don't know if that's, like, going to be a part of the official art or not, or if that's... Like, I don't know if that's, like, for the trailer. Because, of course, with the trailers on YouTube, they always, like, obscure some of the summer art. That's just kind of been the case for the past couple of years. And so, I don't know. I'm curious if that's the case with the final art or not. Because it does feel a little odd for her to block herself there. And a little disappointing, too. I'm not going to lie. Seidr, again, there's all these flower petals, too. That are just coming out of nowhere. I'm assuming the flower petals are not part of the art. Design of the outfits themselves, really, really nice, with the sarong of the skirt, with the transparency, and how it catches the light too, really nice. Both of them leggy, busty, beautiful, the smooth skin is positively radiant in the sunlight, really, really gorgeous stuff. Seidr has just that bright smile, and then Gullveig, of course, a little bit more reserved and concerned in her expression. But captivating nonetheless. Once again, I don't know about that watermelon position, but we'll see if that's in the final art or not. And of course, we can check out their attacking art too to see if end up blocking anything. So, all right. So taking a look here, Golden Sunlight 14 might. Again, it's a red tome. Killer slaying effect. If unit initiates combat or foe's HP is at least 75% at the start of combat, grants bonus to units. Stat line equal to 5 plus number of foes within 3 rows and 3 columns centered on unit times 3, max 14, treated as 14, starting in unit's second combat in player phase and enemy phase. Alright, so already alluding to the fact that she can attack like 4 times in a turn or something like that. So there is a condition, of course, for her to get plus 14 to all of her stats. It's a max value based and scaling around the number of foes within 3 rows and 3 columns, but she also gets that max stat boost at the start of her second combat in player phase. So that's interesting, although it doesn't make any mention of the third combat or the fourth combat. Maybe that'll be clarified later. Deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed, excluding AoE specials, and reduces the percentage of foes non-special. So damage reduction piercing is 50% during combat. So she has just an innate 50% damage reduction piercing, and then also gets a fixed damage boost scaling off of her speed stat. Okay. If unit initiates combat, reduces damage from foe's first attack during combat by 70%, including brave effects. Also grants another action to unit after combat and inflicts restrict movement to 1 space on unit and pair up cohort through their next actions. Will not trigger again for 2 turns after triggering. So, self-refresh every 2 turns, basically. She can't spam it, but every time that she does it, she will be able to have another turn. She gravities herself. She can only move one space, but she gets another action. And then, of course, there's an actual cooldown period for this of 2 turns after it triggers for the first time. 70% damage reduction. That is significant. That is a high number. And it's only for the first attack, though. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's not too dissimilar from having like 2 stacking damage reduction effects going on. So I'm sure she's going to have more damage reduction kind of built into her kit as a whole, but you don't often see that high of a percentage for just one. You'll often see like a couple of different damage reductions kind of sprinkled in instead. But I mean, that is, Gullveig and, the whole gimmick with the whole self-refresh and attacking multiple times. So not terribly surprised by all of that, but again, the special cooldown charge is going to help with Time and Light, which is her special at 2-turn cooldown. It's only going to be at a 1-turn cooldown. And then all the stat boosts that she's going to be getting, the actual fixed damage increase, as well as the damage reduction piercing, all really strong things to make her offensively powerful. And then you have the defensive effect of the damage reduction of 70% for that first hit. So Time and Light for the special boosts special damage by 30% of unit speed when special triggers, neutralizes effects that inflict special cooldown charge -X on unit during combat. So again, a innate guard effect just built into the special. Obviously, that's quite strong. If unit initiates combat, after combat, if unit special triggered and unit survives, grants another action to unit and inflicts restrict movement to 1 space on unit and pair up cohort through their next actions once per turn. This effect has priority over other similar effects. In such cases, these other similar effects are treated as not having triggered. So it's going to take precedent of using the Time and Light. So if Time and Light procs, she's going to get a self-refresh, and then it's going to take priority over the self-refresh of Golden Sunlight, right? So we've seen that in the past. So yeah, the 30% damage scaling off of their speed, I think their speed is probably going to be pretty significant. And then again, the neutralization of the guard effect is pretty magnificent. I mean, that's really strong, just insurance. It's really just powerful insurance. A Flared Sparrow for the A-slot skill. We all know and love this one. As combat begins damage, so 7 damage as combat begins if she initiates combat, and then grants attack speed +7 to unit, and then applies the Divine Vein Flame on 5 spaces in a line. Speed Res Far Trace 4 for the B-slot enables Kanto, remainder minimum 1, so she always gets at least 1 Kanto space. Inflict speed res -4 on foe during combat, and unit deals +7 damage, including when dealing damage with a special triggered before combat. So getting some true damage off of the Trace 4 skill, and the Kanto and the debuff. Odd Speed Wave 4 for the C slot. So I'm expecting a similar effect here to the previous wave skill. At start of turn, grant speed +6 to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. If unit speed is greater than or equal to foe speed -5, neutralizes effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks and effects that prevent units follow-up attacks during combat. If it is an odd number turn, grant speed +6 to unit during combat. So she's going to have speed up to wazoo, and of course, as we already mentioned, she has that damage that scales off of her speed, which is quite nice. So she's stacked with tons of really powerful effects built into her kit as a whole. I will say that, she doesn't have any unique skills other than her special and her weapon, which I guess she doesn't really need to be honest. Her special and her weapon provide them with enough power, enough backing, enough offensive damage, the ability to just kind of like nuke and self-refresh, and kind of basically take down an entire army by themselves, more or less. I will say that I'm a little surprised that she doesn't have more damage reduction built into her kit somewhere. It's only the 170%. And then, of course, that is susceptible to damage reduction piercing or damage reduction nullification as well. She does have damage reduction piercing built into the kit, as well as a lot of things, stat boosts and damage boosts and everything else, scaling off of her speed, special cooldown, and her special itself obviously scales off of speed too. So she's going to be hitting pretty heavily. So I don't think there's a ton that she does uniquely outside of being a Gullveig, because I mean, again, that's sort of a Gullveig thing. Like, what she has is a lot of kind of the Gullveig stuff that we've kind of grown to love and hate, or love or hate, depending on who you are and where you are on that in that paradigm. But yeah, so I guess my takeaway is that, like, it's not incredibly unique what she does overall, at least compared to some of the other things that we've seen in this banner. But, I mean, she gets ridiculous speed boosts, and she does tons and tons of damage, and that self-refresh is no joke. Alright, so let's take a look at the attacking art here, see if there's anything kind of blocking the view as far as these go. So there's all those flowers again, which I maintain is probably not part of the final art. So Gullveig is, she doesn't have the melon in front of her anymore, so there's some more exposure. I feel like the black band there feels a little out of place, like for the top. Not that it would be completely gone or anything, but it feels kind of slapped on. Curious what the final art is going to be like. I mean, again, that's a big factor here. It's summer. It's a summer banner. There's swimsuits. There's very attractive ladies, gorgeous women, and men, and so it's important to know what the final art's going to look like. And I am curious about I guess what level of alteration is being shown here. Just again, the black bands look a little weird, so I wonder if like they attempted to do more coverage there, and maybe there's something, you know, a little bit scanter. I'm not sure. Well, we'll have to see. But obviously, from what we can see and what we can confirm, they look phenomenal. Those toned bellies, the succulent thighs with rivulets of water just tracing down them as well. Just really great stuff. I have full faith in Yoshiku. If there was alteration of the art, I'm sure it came from Nintendo's side. But here, okay, so here's the special art as well. I would again anticipate that the water effects there have been added in post. Just makes sense to me. But yeah, we'll have to see about the black tans. They may just be part of the swimsuit, which is fine. Because especially since the bottoms have that sort of similar black effect there, so that could just be part of the art. Not sure. We'll find out soon enough. We're not gonna have to wait too much longer. Probably it's probably up on Twitter or something like that. So yeah. Alright, so again, they're going to be super strong, and then they also get themselves another refresh with the duo skill too. So again, they get so much mileage out of just being able to refresh themselves and do tons and tons of damage over and over and over again. Self-refreshing with their weapon, with their special, with their duo skill, and it's awesome. And I like that thematically. I really like the little like sweet kind of ice treats that they have with the fruit too. I think it's very cute. So again, almost 2 months for this banner being live and being able to just build up an orb count to go in on the banner. And yeah, and then of course the Fate Pass, you can, Fate Pass can spark as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a stacked banner, it's strong, it's got a lot of unique elements too. I have to say, Hrid in particular, bringing some interesting elements with the frozen ability, frankly, even Olivia with the kind of odd and even, like, buffs, and then Nerduz just has damage reduction on top of damage reduction on top of damage reduction, hits very hard at the same time, and also provides support abilities too, so she's got a lot going on in that respect. And then the duo does what Gullveig does best, I have to say. Like, I don't think she's really changing the formula too much, but she is another Gullveig plus Seidr, and honestly, that might just be enough. They're going to be really strong. So yeah, that being said, I think the banner as a whole is strong. Am I going to summon on this? If you even had to ask, I'm definitely going to be summoning on this banner. And I'm going to be targeting all of the, basically all of the ladies. Nothing against Hrid, of course. He looks great. But yeah, I'm going to be summoning for the ladies here, and hopefully being able to walk away with them. We'll see. Again, the banner's around for a long time, but I also know that Legendary Camilla is coming back in July. And so that's, again, another kind of looming threat. There's also Summer 2. We're getting another Summer banner, as we always do. So, who knows? Who knows who's gonna be on that one? So, let me know in the comments below what you think about Flush Summer, our Summer Banner 1 for Fire Emblem Heroes this year. If you're excited, if you guessed who they were, who you're gonna be going for, if at anyone at all, what you think about the banner as a whole. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, let's protect those skies.